guys, so today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up and my November TBR. So for this month I had quite a few books that I read and I was super proud of myself, mostly because it was like I think 8 or 9 books, and also October was kind of my midterm month. So that's kind of amazing that I was able to get through so many books like during this really stressful, like busy time of the year, and so that was super cool. I absolutely just love that I was able to get to that. Also, I finally reached the end of my Goodreads challenge. So that was 50 books, and I finally read 50 books this year. Yay! I've never finished a Goodreads challenge that was this high. I think the last one I finished was like 10 books in a year, and that's kind of like, I really wanted to do better than that. So I'm really happy that I got to 50, so that's pretty cool. So the first 3 books that I read this month were all on audiobook, and those ones were Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco, Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, and Warcross by Marie Lu. And those were all super amazing audiobooks that I completely recommend. Side note, there is a side Women Loving Women ship that is in Hunting Prince Dracula, and it is so good. I totally recommend that series. It is amazing. If you're looking for something good for Halloween, like right before Halloween, and you're looking for also an audiobook, then I totally recommend Stalking Jack the Ripper and Hunting Prince Dracula. It kind of also has like a Diviners feel as well, so if you like the Diviners, you might like those books as well. The next book I've read this month was How to Make a Wish by Ashley Herring Blake, and that book is also Women Loving Women, and I loved it so much. It's set in a small town, and the main character lives with her mom, and it's just really good. I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad I finally got to read it. I borrowed it from the library, so I don't have a physical copy of it with me. But yes, I totally recommend that book, so check it out on Goodreads. I have all of my links down below for any of my blog posts or Goodreads, so if you want to read my reviews of any of these books, you can check down below, and all the links are there. So far, all of those books are like 5-star reads. I totally loved all of those books. But now I'm going to get to my 1 3-star read, which was Iron Cast by Destiny Soraya. And this book was one I had been anticipating reading for a very long time, and I was super excited to finally get to pick it up. However, it was kind of a letdown for me. Basically, it's about these 2 girls, and they both have this strange blood disorder where they are able to manipulate emotions either through singing or poetry or art or whatever. And one of the girls is black and the other is white, and they are set in the 1920s, kind of right before Prohibition. And it sounded so good, and it just wasn't really something that lived up to my expectations. And I'm so sad because I really wanted to like this book, and then it just didn't happen. So that's kind of a disappointment. But it's okay. I really hope you guys still do read it, so maybe you guys might like it as well. I don't know. I know a lot of people actually do really like this book. I've read a lot of reviews, and you know, there are some people that actually really liked it. I was not one of those people. So yeah, I totally say give it a shot, but just know I didn't like it that much. So the next book I read was Dear Martin by Nick Stone, and that book was so amazing. It was one of the books I had been anticipating basically all year, and so I was super excited and very surprised when my local library had a copy of that book, like literally maybe a week after it was released. Like, that's pretty cool. So I got to read it, and it was amazing. It's about this guy, and he is trying to emulate Martin Luther King Jr. and trying to live his life like Martin Luther King. I totally recommend this book. It's super short, but it is super important and powerful, and I have my review link down below where I kind of, you know, go into more of my feelings of this book, but it is probably one of my most favorite reads of this year, bar none. It's one of my favorite reads. I totally recommend it. The next book I read for October was The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. This is actually the last book that I read just recently. I just finished it, and it was so good. This book is actually being made into a movie, which I'm so excited about as well. Basically, this book is about Star, and she witnesses her really good friend being shot by a police officer, and it just kind of spirals from there. It is so, so good, so incredibly powerful and necessary and important, and I want to put this book and Dear Martin into the hands of everyone. I wish I could do that. It is so good. They're both so amazing. And so yeah, I totally recommend this book, and I also really recommend Dear Martin. I believe this is the last book that I have on my October wrap-up, and that is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. And I loved this book so much. I can't even believe that I read this in October. It feels like I read it so long ago. So it's kind of like, wow, I actually read this book in October. It's amazing. But I love this book so much. I heard like some kind of like mixed reviews before, but I'm pretty sure that we read completely different books because I loved this book. This book was amazing. So, you know, that's how it goes. I really enjoyed this book. I completely recommend it. I absolutely loved both Dimple and Rishi, and I just love the story, and I kind of want to reread it. It was that good. I'm totally in love with this book. Alright, moving on from my October wrap-up, I'm going to head into my November TBR. So the book that I'm reading currently is The Victoria in My Head by Janelle Milanes. Or, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce her name? I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. But I was really interested in this book. This book features a main character who is Cuban American, and I'm so excited to read this. I've read the first chapter, and it's already really good. I'm kind of really loving it, and so I'm super excited to kind of dive more into this book, and yeah, so I'm super excited for it. The rest of these books are books from the library that I checked out, and so we're just going to go through all of these books here. The next book is How to Be Brave by E. Catherine Kataris, and I don't really know too much about this book. I'm pretty sure the main character's mom died of cancer before the beginning of this book, and that's about as much as I know about this book, but it sounds really interesting. I read the inside flap and I can't really remember exactly what it said, but yeah, so there we go. The next book is Scarlett Epstein Hates It Here by Anna Breslaw, and I kind of heard that this one was a little bit like a Fangirl or Eliza and Her Monsters kind of book, so I'm super excited to get into this because I both loved Fangirl and Eliza and Her Monsters, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this book as well. The next book I have is Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman, and I kind of wanted to read this book because I know it's a Western, and I'm also writing a Western kind of book for NaNoWriMo, and so I kind of wanted to read this a little bit to kind of see how she wrote her Western, you know, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I'm super excited to read this book. I actually wanted to read it a few years ago and I just never got around to it, so I'm so excited to actually have this book from the library and I'm gonna get to read it. The next book I have is one that I've seen on Twitter a whole bunch lately. Like just everyone is reading it right now, and that is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. And I've heard that this one is also kind of like an Eliza and Her Monsters, and so I'm really excited to read this book. I'm actually not sure what this book is about or like what it entails or anything like that. Like if there's any representation, I'll have to, you know, look it up a little bit further and then I can put it in a comment down below. So yeah, I just heard a lot about it. I think there actually is some LGBTQ plus representation in this book. I'm pretty sure. I just don't know what it is. It might be bi-rep, but I'm not sure. I wish I knew this beforehand. I should probably know this beforehand, honestly. And then the very last book on my TBR is Even If the Sky Falls by Mia Garcia. And look at this gorgeous cover. Like, look at how beautiful this is. Basically, what I know about this book is that it is set in New Orleans, which I absolutely love New Orleans. I've been there and it was so much fun and so beautiful. And I think it's just basically about this girl who kind of just goes off on her own one night in New Orleans when her class is visiting there and just kind of has this adventure one night. And yeah, so I'm super excited to read this book. I've never read any books that are set in New Orleans, so I'm super excited to get into this one. Alright, so that was my October wrap-up and my November TBR. If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, leave me a comment down below telling me what you've read this month and what you're planning on reading in November. Also, let me know if you're doing NaNoWriMo and leave your username down there so I can like friend you on the website, on the Nano website. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Bye!